Just another reminder, if you're just arriving, we do have some seats close to the stage. We have some cushions there, so for those of you that might have just gotten here in the last few minutes, please help yourself.
We've just learned that Hasmukh or HR Rama is out there somewhere lost in hugs, so he should be here any moment, and then we can begin.
And dear members of the International Advisory Council, we'd like to wish you a warm welcome to today's meeting. The aim of this meeting is to have an open, honest, and meaningful dialogue. The intention is to foster a collaboration between the Residents' Assembly and the International Advisory Council. We invite you all to go co-create a safe space in which sharing is done with respect and active listening. This is Anita, and my name is Arada, and today we'll be facilitating this meeting together. We'd like to say thank you to the team of people who have created the flower arrangements, to the team of people who have arranged for a meal to be organized for us to share after the meeting, and for Helgard, who has brought this painting, which is the unity in diversity. We'd also like to thank the working committee members for organizing the meeting and the Unity Pavilion team for setting it all up for us.
Thank you. I don't know if you called out to the tech team. Did we give a call out? Okay. Okay. So that's my wrong paper. Our plan as facilitators is really to stay with the intention of the meeting, which is to hold space for a dialogue. So we're going to do sorry, I'm going to start that again. I'm sorry, I'm not very comfortable with the mic. Okay, so in our role as facilitators, our main aim is to honor the intention of the meeting, which is really to create a space and hold the space for a dialogue between the members of the community and the IAC. So we will be doing very little. And I'll just give you a little more information about what the next couple of hours are how are they going to flow. So the first thing is we don't have an agenda for this meeting other than what the aims and intentions that she shared, but we have a flow, how we would like to flow. And we will begin with Arvinda, who will share a short note from the working committee. And then we will hand over to the members of the IAC, and we would like you to introduce yourself to the community, to the people present here, and let us know a bit more about you, since the intention is a first meeting, and something personal, something professional, something aspirational, and anything else that you feel like sharing. The idea of the meeting, once they have done their introductions, is when we would open the space for the dialogue. for questions, for comments, for answers, for curiosities. We plan to go around 6:30. If the flow is really energetic, we would go on till 7, followed by the dinner, which should be then. We'll know more during the course exactly when dinner will be served, and we'll keep you informed. That's it, I think. So with that, I would ask Aravinda, and I think the team wants us to be on the mark. So if you could come here for the sake of the live streaming. And do you want to hold a moment of silence before you go?
Let's begin with a moment of silence. Vanakkam, Swagatam, welcome, bienvenue. This is quite a momentous time, just the feeling in the room, and it's also a long-awaited moment. It's about 7 years since Resident Assembly met International Advisory Council. Not because you were not here, just because in the previous set, when we had the governing board for 4 years, there was no International Advisory Committee. And then for 1.5 years, we had neither governing board nor International Advisory Committee. Since October that you are here, more than a year ago, this is the first time we are meeting, and we are so grateful to be together, and really looking forward to charting our way together. And while preparing in the last couple of days, I was, and we were, really feeling kind of a turning point coming, where we can connect on a different level with a different energy and start a constructive future together. And that's what we hope, in spite of everything, that this is be the future. I welcome you on behalf of all residents, and I represent them as part of the member of the working committee. Let's move together as the Foundation Act intended, that the Resident Assembly, the Governing Board, and the International Advisory Committee work hand in hand in mutuality. And for me, just it kind of came up yesterday, this is the ABC of the Foundation: Assembly, Board, and Council. So let's be from here onwards ABC and not just one wheel doing what it wants. With that, I must also share that all our enthusiasm was there, but last evening we have received quite a shocking news, and it must be shared. One of our members, one of our working committee member, has received last night Leave India notice. There is no criminal offense against him. He's just been serving the community. I have no words to say how it impacts us. And I hope that we can take this step together in strength, in solidarity. And henceforth, there will be no Orwellians that will say this side on that side, that we will be all together. Because Orwell was built together all these years, and it's only together that we can keep building it. Thank you.
Before I introduce myself, I have a request. Can I sit under a fan? Gabby, would you switch with me? I need to have a fan.
As long as there's no fan there, I will switch.
She doesn't like the fan, and I need the fan. Oh, yes? Let me sit there. Can the fan just be one fan, or does it have to be all the fans? Maybe just for a little while? Okay. I'm Dina, and this is so beautiful, and it's beautiful to be here with you. It's been a long time in coming. I've been on the International Advisory Council for a year now, and I've had 3 visits, but they're usually rushed, and I have not had an opportunity to meet with you, and I'm very sorry about that, because until we meet face to face, we can't really feel each other's energy and know each other. So, it's good to be here. Now, what should I say about myself? I've been a meditator for 50 years. My lineage is Paramahansa Yogananda. Sri Aurobindo is my teacher of the Vedas. I've been coming to the ashram for 15 years, each time taking a visit to Oroville. I founded and run an organization called the Global Peace Initiative of Women, which brings spiritual resources to places of conflict. More recently, we've been working on climate change, going to the UN climate conferences, leading sessions on the inner dimensions of climate change. I'm also an author. I've written 5 books, one on Sita, one on Rukmini, one on just on Tibet. So that's me in a nutshell. That's okay. It's okay. Is that enough information?
I'm sure there'll be more questions.
I live in New York.
I don't get it.
Ula, we weren't sure whether you were comfortable there, so we were offering you another place. You don't need to come here because of the fan and all that.
Wow.
Okay. You were not in the wrong place.
Good afternoon. I'm Michel, and first of all, it's a privilege to be among all of you. I've been very lucky to be in this very hall a number of times in the last couple of years for various community meetings, which I attended sitting in a corner. And I think this is a defining moment. Brief introduction. Well, many of you may happen to know me and Nicole, who came before me to Oroville in 1974. I only came in 1977 and stayed for 5 years before moving on to other things, but permanently living in India, ultimately getting involved in a lot of educational and cultural activities and academic also, and taking Indian citizenship, both of us, somewhere along the way. But constantly retaining, keeping Oroville in our heart and coming back to it as often as we could, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, quite often, increasingly often, culminating in a surprise appointment to this International Advisory Council and doing whatever I could to interact with a wide range of people here and making certain representations to the governing board, about which perhaps we will discuss a little more later.
Thank you for showing up. It's amazing to see so many people. And as Michelle has said already, it's long, long overdue. My name is Gabby. I'll start the other way around. I was born in South Africa to German parents and have lived in Ireland for most of my life. So I do feel like I'm a little bit of an international nomad. I've been coming to Oroville since 2002 and came every year until 2020. COVID prevented us from travelling. Oroville has always been a huge, not only an inspiration to me, but a place that nourished and sustained me for the months that I was not here. So it was like a little bit of a refueling station for me for every year. I've participated in many programs in Oroville and have brought yoga students to Oroville for yoga intensives, and equally have interchanged with people, asking people from Oroville to come to Ireland and share their expertise. I think that's about all I can think of. Maybe you guys have questions later. Thank you.
So it seems like I'm the Syrian most to visit Oroville since 1969. I was born in Malawi, Africa, raised in India, and I'm living in America since last 52 years. I'm basically a hotelier. Now I'm accidental educator. I founded a university called Oro University, which is in operation since last 12 years in Surat, Gujarat, India. My introduction to Sri Aurobindo is from age 14, from my class teacher. I got so much impression of his teaching, which integrates material life with spiritual life. So I don't see any conflict in practicing what I do versus what my inner calling is. So that's number one that I picked up from Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. I believed in Oroville so much that I bought a guest house in Oroville, away from here, a 21-room guest house called La Grace Integral Life Center, to house students and faculty of Oro University visiting Oroville and understanding and going through the experience of community living, international diverse culture of this community, and no hierarchy here. There is nobody telling you what to do, and yet all of you doing it. Well, hold it. It is all about how you look at it, okay? So that is one thing that I picked up. You all have your own opinion. I'm telling you my opinion. So I don't need any reaction to it, okay? Because I will not fall for your reaction too. So that is one thing that I have done. I don't know how I wind up in Oroville International Council, but I am also learning more about Oroville, what it represents, and how it should be taken to the next level to promote, to make it a real dynamo of inspiration for the rest of the world. And that is what I see I get from Oroville. We also I have taken a piece of Oroville, a golden disc, and I'm opening Sri Aurobindo Integral Life Center, which is opening on 21st February in Oro University campus. So I have taken golden disc and I'm putting that. So I just want you to know that Auroville and what it stands for is not alien to me and my life and pursuit of life. I went from east to west. You all came from west to east. In fact, in Greenville, South Carolina, where I'm from, they have built a park called Unity Park. Unity Park. And in that, there is a river goes through, and we sponsor a bridge, which is called Oro Bridge. You can go on a website, and you see it. So I just want you to know how much Auroville represents for the humanity and what all of us sitting in this room carries the responsibility to become a role model for the rest of the world. With all the problems is one thing, but we have committed ourselves for what the vision and mission of the mother was and how we can help it manifest, not just in Auroville, but outside of Auroville. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And I just wanted to say some of us were born in the East and remained in the East. But that's the collective community of Auroville. And I would like, after this introduction, to open the space for dialogue. The way we'd like is we will let you stay in your chairs, and we will ask anybody that wants to speak to move into this inner circle here. There will be a mic here. And we'd like you to regulate yourself a little bit. We'll free up some chairs. So if in the inner circle there are people who don't want to ask any questions, you could just move a little back, leave a chair free. Right now there are 2 chairs free. Mine and Orada's will free up. And I would just open the space. And it could be that you have some questions or somebody from the community has it. I would make one more request, is that all of us, we try to be as concise, whether it's a question, whether it is a curiosity, or whether it's a comment, so that we can really hear as many voices as possible, knowing that with dinner, you can always take your point further. You'll have an opportunity to discuss it further. Does that work? Okay, so then the space is yours. And I'm going to put this mic here, and there's another mic there. There are chairs there. Please feel free to.
Good afternoon. My name is Samrat. I'm part of the Auroville Council here. And I grew up in the ashram in Pondicherry. I did all my schooling since the kindergarten. So from the age of 3, I grew up in the ashram. And my earliest recollection was coming in contact with the senior-most disciples of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. And that was a very special experience indeed. What I wanted to ask you all is, how do you perceive your role to be today, and how can you, simply put, help us? Because as you must be aware, we are in a very sticky spot in our history. And what I wanted to also express very clearly is that from the residents' side, there is a lot of opening and a lot of aspiration to take the vision of Mother and Sri Aurobindo forward. We are proactively putting forward designs, ideas about how we can go forward. So this is also important for the rest of the world to realize this, because sometimes there is the narrative that, there is a large section of the community which is against development, which is not true at all. The truth about it is that there is a large section of the community which is for development in a conscious way. As you know that in Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga, spirit and matter meet in perfect marriage and harmony. And this is what we are requesting today to happen, that things are approached with a certain awareness, with a certain consciousness, and also with a certain amount of compassion and vastness, where you are willing to see the other's perception. As our respected member just now said, that he expressed a certain perception, and all of us, we might have lots of different perceptions about what is the way forward. And my request today would be is, how could you help us in terms of also the governing board, also the foundation office? How could you help us forward from this sticky place and try to bring this marriage more consciously forward, this marriage of a conscious approach? That's all.
We will each have something to say about that. A little bit differently we'll express it. I think, from my point of view, one of the main services we can provide is, as a bridge, communications. Because there is no communication now. And the city cannot develop, it's not about mortar and bricks, it's about the spirit. You are essential for the development of the city. Your energy is needed, your inspiration is needed, your vision is needed, your creativity is needed. Can't happen without you, no matter how many roads you build, no matter how many buildings. You need the infrastructure there, that has to be put in place, but your spirit has to be there. And what you're experiencing in Oroville is no different from what the world is experiencing. You know that. You're a microcosm, and the world is in the throes of deep transformation and conflict right now. Why should it be any different here? There's not an easy answer to that, but there are steps that can be taken. We just met with the governing board virtually, and we talked about dialogue. And we because it didn't work, because there were a few efforts that it didn't work, it doesn't mean you stop trying, making that effort. There has to be dialogue. I don't think that the foundation or the governing board realizes the goodwill that's here. And because there's not been communication. And I think you don't realize their aspirations, which are really to serve the vision of Sri Aurobindo. It's like you both want the same thing. You know, it's just how to do it. And I think there are some really critical issues that need to be sorted out, like governance structure. Governance structure, there's not a clarity around that. You know, the words may be there on paper, but what does it really mean? How is it enacted? How do these bodies work together? And I think it's because it's never been really worked out. As you said, I mean, there's been no governing board, there was no council. It's not really been worked out. I had a friend, Dudu Dien, who was on the council, and he talked to me about how dysfunctional it was. So I think there have been problems for a long time that have never really been worked out. And now is the opportunity, and it's not easy. I'm not saying it's like, you know, X, Y, and Z, and it's going to be easy. It's going to take time to work through these issues. But, you know, we're here to help, and we're here to serve, and it's an ongoing dialogue. We haven't come just for 2 hours here and then we're going to disappear. This has to be the beginning of a dialogue.
Samrat, I think you asked very important questions. First of all, how do we perceive our role? For that, my answer is extremely simple. The role of the International Advisory Council is precisely defined in the Oroville Foundation Act, which Gabby just got a confirmation from the governing board is still the legal framework by which Oroville is to be managed. This was a question that Gabby pointedly asked. Is it still the legal framework or not, or has some new legal framework been implemented? So the answer was no, not at all. We are going by the Oroville Foundation Act. Very well. Now, in this act, the council has 2 roles to play. One is to advise the governing board on the best ways to fulfill Oroville's objectives. And we've tried. We've not all had exactly the same voice. We've had different lines of thought, different emphasis. But we've done it with, as of now, not much echo returning to us, not much of internal further discussion of, okay, we've received your suggestions, how do we take them forward? We've been time and again invited to give suggestions. The chairman has very kindly told us, send us your suggestions so that we may try to resolve the issues, and we have sent, and that's usually where it ends. So this is a matter of concern, number 1. Number 2, the second objective is to ensure that Oroville residents will have the freedom, I'm quoting almost word for word, to conduct activities in conformity with the Charter and projects, maybe. So this is extremely clear in the Oroville Foundation Act, and this freedom is actually the key word today, right? Because we feel there is a widespread feeling, and it is my feeling too, perhaps, Gabi will speak for herself, but we have jointly written a number of letters to the chairman across the past 1 year, that this freedom is infringed upon. Now, the chairman's response has been, and I think he made it himself in this very hall, but he made it again today, that freedom doesn't mean license. It doesn't mean that you can come and fulfill your desires and do anything you wish. There has to be some kind of a code of conduct which will regulate this freedom, these activities. And that is perhaps the whole crux of the problem. Now, there are 2 things I'd like to say here. One is that I asked him who's going to lay this code of conduct. And have you ever, Mr. Chairman, invited the community to themselves give suggestions for a possible code of conduct, integrating what, because Mother herself had given quite a lot of guidelines, which were evolving, of course. Has the community been invited to suggest itself to formulate, to help formulate a code of conduct which could perhaps, if necessary, then be formulated as a result of a dialogue? There was no response to my question. That's one. Number 2, I'd like to read out something which I call somewhat in jest Sri Aurobindo's Charter for Oroville. So it's not to be taken seriously, the designation, but his quote is to be taken very seriously to my mind. And what Sri Aurobindo said was in 1926, I have no faith in government controls because I believe in a certain amount of freedom. Freedom to find out things for oneself in one's own way, even freedom to commit blunders. Nature leads us through various errors and mistakes. When nature created the human being with all his possibilities of errors and mistakes, she knew very well what she was about. Freedom for experiment in human life is a great thing. Without the freedom to take risk and commit mistakes, there can be no progress. Growth of consciousness cannot come without freedom. To me, this is definitive. Now, the question is that, of course, freedom can be abused. I lived in Oroville for 5 years. Well, I did see a few things which were not right. Let me just put it in a very broad way. We know that not everybody has been scrupulously honest or sincere. We know that in a community of 3,000 people over 50 years or more, there are going to be, there's going to be a bit of leakage here and there. Now, this is amplified to tell us that there are lots of things in Auroville which are undesirable. There's lots of financial irregularities. There are lots of undesirable phenomena, and this has to be now regulated. And we need to, and we are going, come what may, to define a code of conduct and decide who is following this code of conduct or not. And those who do not will have to leave Auroville. This is what we were told today. I have my notes. Now, this to me is not the way forward. Because if at all we agree that there should be a code of conduct and some kind of broad, and it has to be something unique to Auroville because Auroville is unique, then it has to come from the community, and there can be a dialogue, and then of course governing board can express its opinions, and so on and so forth. It cannot be an imposition from the top. This has been my attitude, my view, my repeated representations, and sometimes jointly with Gabi, to the governing board, but we have not had yet a proper discussion. And the crucial question is, who's going to judge? Who's going to judge who is capable of living up to the ideas that Mother has given or not? So these are major questions, and we've been trying to at least define them and hoping that at some point there will be some genuine discussion to move forward on them.
On? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. I don't want to repeat the same things or echo what Michelle has said. I have been tutoring on a teacher training course for the last 20 years, and my role is to train yoga teachers. And, you know, in that role, we've realized, you know, you can't, you know, students have asked, can we have a manual, can we have a book, you know. It doesn't work that way, especially not with the spiritual practice. So, you know, the premise that we teach through is you absorb, you integrate, and what is unique to you is allowed expression. And I feel that organizations or communities like this are no different. If the community feels there is a need for change, the change needs to come from within. It needs to emerge together, however difficult that is. And unfortunately, my experience so far has been that change is being thrust upon a community, which I feel is completely contradictory to any spiritual aspiration. I realize I am like a drop in the ocean to what you guys must feel and experience every day, but it has been frustrating. It has been frustrating because we're not always heard. It's been frustrating that there seems to be a negativity that exists that can't be seen beyond. And all we can do is try and chip away at that, keep chipping away at that. But I'm very heartened to hear that, you know, that there've been community coming together and community programs and stuff, and I really think that that is a way forward for the community, and we'll just try and keep going back to the rules and regulations and our roles and what is, in my view, and again, I'm sorry, I know that you know, we all speak from our past. But yeah, you know, it stirs something in me when the right to speak, the right to express yourself, the right to contribute is taken away. It just stirs something in me that is makes me feel it is not right. That is not the way forward.
think the most important thing that we are all one family, which we heard that we are all together. So there is going to be different positions, understanding, misunderstanding, priorities, perceptions, everything. We are all different human beings. What is required, if you ask me, that the solution for these issues that we all talking about has to come from the community itself. Because we are outside looking in, but you are living day in, day out. So you have to figure out what is the best way to do it. All of you have lived here long. You know what is working and not working. And you create your own way of doing things and living things. You already doing it. Now let's understand, if there is a roadblock, let's remove it. It's fine. What I'm saying is that the solution has to come from the community itself. And I strongly suggest to you that outside advisors will not be able to help you. In fact, they may fuel the fire into the fire. We need to be protecting against that also. So we need to understand that, because we all have our own way of looking at things. But you are living here, and you need to figure out what can be done. And you've been living here a long time, and you are the best judge of situation, best judge of what solution can be that can work for most of it, not for everybody. Sometimes things don't work for everybody, and we have to accept that. Because we have to also recognize that we are all work in progress. We are human beings, we have defects, and we have to recognize that. So therefore, what is good for the larger community, we have to respect that and move on with it. Because we can go on positioning ourselves, it will not take long enough. Because in fact, the gulf will be more wider than narrower. Okay? Hopefully that sooner or later we all come to a understanding that it is my family problem, I have to solve my own problem. This is how I see this issue could be addressed.
Sorry, one thing I did want to say, and I forgot, was that the other thing I feel that we can do is listen. And I've tried to meet with as many people as possible in the last week that I've been here. Still here for 2 weeks. So if anybody does want to engage, I'm very happy to do that.
I guess maybe I should stand up. My name is Amy, and I think a lot of you know who I am. I've been in Oroville for 18 years, and I've served in the public sphere quite a bit, mostly in the Funds and Assets Management Committee. And I can tell you, I'm actually pretty comfortable speaking in public, but right now my heart is totally racing. Because this time is just unprecedented, and I understand it's happening on the planet, in the world, but it's happening to my home. And Oroville is my home, and India is my home. India is the place of my soul. And I know that it's the place of your soul too. I know it is. And I'm a white person. I have a US passport. And I have to worry now that I stand here before you with my heart spread open on the floor, and I have to worry about getting a quit notice. And that's terrible. You just can't imagine how that feels. You can't imagine. Look at us. And I know that my Indian brothers and sisters are feeling this pain just as much. You know, just as much. They don't have to worry about getting a leave Oroville notice. Maybe they'll be asked to leave because they don't meet this code of conduct that's coming down the pike. Maybe they'll have to go live in Kolopalium or something. But they will not have to leave the country that they love, that resonates with their soul, where they can breathe, where they can love, really love. We're here for human unity. We are not here to be told what to do. We are not children. We have been doing this experiment for a long time. We have been improving. I've been here 18 years. I'm a baby. And just since I've been here, since 2004, the amount of change that I have seen, we are maturing. We are growing up. We are learning to talk. We are learning to listen. We are learning to embrace. It's happening. I don't care what anybody says. I live it. I live it every day. And I want you I thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, listening. I actually don't have any questions for you. I really don't. I've heard you. I understand as well as I can where you're coming from. But I want you to hear me. My name is Amy Bassett. India is my home. I love living in Oroville. I love the freedom. I love the difficulty. I love the messiness. I love everyone in this room. I love the governing board. I love the International Advisory Council. I love Jayanti Ravi. I love RN Ravi. I do. I love them because we have to love, you guys. We have to. We have to. I know it's hard. I know. I also feel threatened, really. I'm like, do I get up and say what my heart is screaming for me to say? But love, we're here. We are here for human unity. Don't forget that, please. Thank you.
I would just invite us before the next person. I would just invite us before the next person speaks, if we could spend a few moments holding that love. Just a few moments of silence.
It's not easy to speak after Army, something which we all felt comes from the heart. And I would like to stay on the same level, if I can. I have problems with my throat because maybe I speak too much. So maybe I should shut up. But let me just reflect on your presence. I think I'm very grateful that she has brought you four physically here. And I would like to use you and take your invitation for building bridges, for opening up the sense of family, for letting an inner code arise, for letting that creativity, which doesn't see only problems and products, but is grateful for the time and space to see it as challenges. And the second part would be to be an invitation to become midwives. I have met you quite often when we took the 50th anniversary. You were a gracious host. And there is a generosity I can feel when you speak. But there is a sense of sadness because we have heard many words. I'm not saying that this, but it's like when we plead, when we appeal, when we say something, yes, yes, we will think about it, yes, yes. in the very same room which you mentioned. We were all sitting there. We were lectured to, but there was no reply to our pleading. So the use is, I'm committing yourself now to the promise you have given to the community to crack open that wall which we are facing and take these words from the community. And I speak only for me. I think it is the voice of the Residents' Assembly. Whatever the ROR says, we are the Residents' Assembly. Come here, giving our life, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. So you build the bridge, Dina. You take this, what comes from us, to those who have closed their eyes to us and their ears to us, to the foundation office, to the chairman's office. That is now what you have promised us, and we hold you to that promise. This community, the conduct, yes, we have to have changes. I know what you're referring to, Michelle, when we all started, and I don't want to go into details of what happened at that time. It has been glorified. The past always history glorifies the past, but it was messy also. This learning from within, and then, you know, the community, the voice of the community. Rama, you now be the voice of the community and bring it to the closed ears and the closed eyes. Governor Ravi, I heard them. You listen to them. You give them a space and a time. Change often comes with pain. And it is in the old Japanese thing, the hard edge is made by pressure and pain. We are under pressure and pain and heat. And we are not blaming anybody. We all want her city. When I met her, when I said, Mother, you said yes, why are you quoting to me what I said yesterday? Listen to the now. She made a drawing with her hand, 4 petals. At one time she said, okay, then we change it. We put the industrial zone here, and we put this here, we put this here. Even her disciple, Roger, okay, you want this? Yeah, we change it a bit. Piero, the engineer, what? There's a problem, so we widen it a bit. He speaks about a very beautiful word, multicentric. Taking 563 meters, whatever it is, and make this the dogma, and make a circle, and once the circle is finished, the supramental will descend. I don't, any of you 4 believe that. So, but the sense, the pain is, it's not about the crown. It is about bringing us to our knees and seeing who doesn't bend out. I went to Delhi and I brought my pain and the pressure to the ears which hurt. And they said, well, Frederick, if you have lived here for 55 years, you have given everything you had, then become an Indian. And it struck me. Yes. I'm not becoming an Indian government. I'm becoming a member of the country of my soul. And nobody can challenge it. So this is the instrument. You have to carry this voice. It cannot be again a wall. And the invitation to you, and this is more than the future, we are in the process. Oroville will never be the same as it was before the secretary descended on top of us. But what it will be, we don't know. And that's exactly the challenge. When the hippies arrived in the end of 60s, and the complaints in the ashram, and for many people, but they are dirty, they are no good. That don't want the old system. But we don't know what they want. But Mother says, how can they know what they want? This is the adventure, the aventure. We don't know what is going to now come. There will be a collective being emerging. It's in the middle of the birth channel. It's painful. And we all should be midwives of that. We are watching a wonder. And don't truncate the arms and the legs before it's even born. Let it emerge. And you will all be proud of it.
Are you Frederick? Yes. The Frederick?
That's about Justin.
The one I've been hearing so much about, who's larger than life? That's you?
Justin is pushing me into your arms.
You wouldn't meet me, and now here we are.
Now we meet.
Hello, Frederick.
Hi, Tina. Good to see you in your presence.
I have some difficulty speaking. I will try. I have a request to you. To destroy something in order to repair it is not the way. That is what Mother says. Sri Aurobindo says in his correspondence with Nirodbaran, you cannot destroy in order to correct. That is not Mother's way. So Mother said, if you want to work for the divine, you have to have patience. And there will be a moment, a divine moment, where things will become clear and you can progress. This moment has come, but they have not listened to the Mother. They have started to destroy, wanton destruction, without any reason or rhyme. There were many wrong things in Orville, as Michel said, but Orville is a representative of humanity. And it is not by throwing out people that you correct the psychological attitude. So I ask you to influence as much as you can to stop this wanton destruction. Another point is, Orville is the city the earth needs. It would be nice to have a colloquial conference on what the earth needs today. Another point I would like to say, Mother talks about the future, a place where we can think only of tomorrow and the future, and not about 68. The 60s were the age of the cosmonauts, of the travel to the moon, and all these discussions in TV about, galaxies and nebulas. That was the 60s, but the 60s are gone. We are in 2023. And what would the Mother want today? What does she want for the future? I would ask you to think about this. It is over 68. There is no Olympic Games in 72. There are no flights from Paris to Orville 2 times a week or 2 times a month. This period, Mother has closed, and she will not come back to this. We have to look at the future, standing today. How can we move forward? And we will move forward if this wanton destruction stops. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to pass the mic to the next speaker. And we'd like, if you want to speak, come and take a chair closer here. The ones who are not in the circle, who don't want to speak, maybe you want to step back, come on this side, so that we can regulate without us popping in. And an invitation to whoever speaks, if you feel like, do introduce yourself, at least your name, so that we know who it is. And Piotr says, stand up so that you can be captured on camera. Invitation only, though.
Hello, IAC members. Thank you for coming. Thank you for meeting us. My name is Renu. I had the great privilege of growing up in pioneering Oroville. And it is something that has marked my life. And I think what marked my life was the adventure of the unknown, of what we were going to create, and the fact that we were building a new society and we didn't know how to do that. So those are the things that were exciting. And it also makes you humble because you never know what is right, what it should be. You're groping and you're figuring it out. But when I look at the Foundation Act and I look at the role, as Michelle mentioned earlier, about the International Advisory Council, whose job is to advise the governing board, tendering any advice to the governing board, the council should endeavor to secure that A, the ideals for which Oroville has been established are encouraged. So I'd like to talk about what that means, because a city is not the ideal of Oroville. Human unity is the ideal of Oroville, and that is the thing that needs to be secured. And while we plunder along and walk along, you must understand that 55 years, I see everything change. I see things in the village change. I see the society change around Oroville at a faster pace than elsewhere. Some for good, some for bad, but mostly it has elevated from what I was a child. Every tree, brick, service has been created by the effort and the goodwill of an Orovillian. It hasn't come from anywhere else. It hasn't. So my question to you is, in the current scenario, the whole idea of Oroville is Mother's idea. So let's stick to Mother's idea. And if we have to sacrifice Mother's idea for a city, it cannot be right. And Dana, I just would like to ask you whether, because I saw a video of people from the spiritual summit praying for the trees that would be sacrificed, I think I shared disappointment, sadness, and some anger. How could you do that? How could you endorse the destruction of a forest that we all say 6 meters here, it can work? So to me, that was an act of you actually reinforcing what the secretary and a few handful of Orovillians are suggesting and beating us on the head with and destroying. I mean, we even have the CPWD, the whole thing here. We have a road service. We have all these things built up. We're building it together. The idea is not a race to the finish. This is the tool. So denying us that, and that particular, even though I'm sure it was well-intentioned, and maybe the trees are grateful for the Tibetan chanting, I'm not. I'm very, very hurt. I'm very hurt, and the people in Darkali, and also what you said was not correct. The people in Darkali have worked incessantly with the town development avatars of before to manage the thing correctly. It keeps changing. It has kept changing. And that seemed to me a bit like an endorsement, and I would really like to hear your response. Thank you.
Sadly, I've managed to create anger on both sides, on all sides. I've angered people from all sides. So I'm really sorry about that. People on that side have been angry at me for different things. And I am who I am. I'm an open book. We were there. It was very spontaneous. Janti said, listen to me. We were there, and I heard the trees are being cut tomorrow. That's it. Nope, the trees are being cut tomorrow. And I thought, oh, but we're here. Why do they have to be cut? Well, we're here. So then I thought, because we work a lot with indigenous communities in the U.S., I said, well, and I know the Bon community, well, there are ceremonies. I mean, you don't just go and, it's like the Native Americans. They killed the buffalo, but they did it asking. They did it in a sense of relationship. You don't just go in and mindfully cut. You do it in relationship. Yes, you have to take from nature. You have to kill animals sometimes. People eat meat. How many animals are killed for that? The problem is we do it like a business now, not mindfully. To do it mindfully. Look, this is where I'm coming from. You may not agree with me. Well, I'm a vegetarian for 50 years. I don't kill. Okay. But the Native Americans killed the buffalo. They did. You're going to criticize them for that? They needed that to live.
May I just come in? May I just come in? I really would like that we might not agree, and I think that was said right in the beginning. This is not about agreeing, but we allow the person to finish. I'd really like that, no matter on which side they are. Thank you.
I'm almost finished. So I know about the Bon tradition, and I know about the way the Bon people of Tibet relate to the spirits of the natural world, to the water spirits, to the earth spirits, to the air spirits, the tree spirits. So I said very spontaneously, the night before, can some of us go talk to those spirits? They need a place to live. Their homes are going to be taken away. Can we wish them well? Can we wish them that they have a safe place and express gratitude for the trees for all that they've contributed? I want to be clear. I am not a decision maker here. I can tell the governing board what I think, but they don't have to listen to me. There's nothing in that paper that says they must listen to the advisors. All I can do is advise. And okay, the trees are being cut tomorrow. Well, can I go say a prayer for them, please? It's that simple. It was that spontaneous. I'm sorry some of you got upset, but I am not a decision maker here. I don't decide whether trees get cut or don't cut. All I can say is, may I say a prayer.
Thank you, Dana. Were you next?
May I add a comment? So, Dana, you are bringing the right point about who's the decision maker. So, in fact, we discussed this in the meeting with the governing board just now, because I think it was Gabi who raised the point as to how are we supposed to function. Something we've discussed several times, and Dr. Jayanti Ravi reminded us that according to the Act, which Renu brought up, the governing board is the authority, the sole authority. It manages and takes the decisions. I had to remind Dr. Jayanti Ravi that the Act specifically says that the governing board will take decisions in consultation with the Residents' Assembly. Now, I will not go further into this, but this is usually where, again, the dialogue aborts. You know, there is no further consultation. So I gave a few examples. I said, take the case of Darkali. First of all, I said, because Dr. Jayanti Ravi, as we know, swears by the master plan and says it's the governing board's duty to implement the master plan. Perhaps, I don't know exactly. But the point is that the master plan never says anywhere that the crown road has to be a perfect circle or that there have to be 12 radius. We all know this, and this is a simple point which we have pointed out again and again, but without getting a proper response. So I said that I happen to know that Darkali had made a counter-proposal of a slight deviation in the Crown Road, which would, save a number of significant water bodies and trees. And that, in fact, Jayanti Ravi was in some of the dialogue and got quite interested at a certain point and thought that this seemed to be a good way forward, then went back and at some point said, no, sorry, we're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead with the perfect circular road. So this is again where there's a disruption and a breakdown of dialogue. I also brought up the question of the youth center, which was willing to relocate, and just a day or two of further discussions would have allowed a very harmonious transition. The youth center had agreed that, yes, they were sitting on the Crown Road and something needed to be done, fine. But again, the methods employed were not in consonance with the spirit of Auroville. And this I brought up this very afternoon. And the third case I brought up was the case of the dream weaving process, because we're being told that you people are totally disunited and are fighting among each other all the time. This is what the impression that we get from some of the inputs from the governing board. And even one of the members today reminded us that Mother had depicted Aurovilians as scoundrels. I think we were told this today, which this is a bit of a discovery for me. But anyway, the point is that here I said the dream weaving process was acknowledged. I was in one of the crucial meetings where even the late Balkrishna Doshi came on the screen with his son-in-law Rajiv, and I was here in this hall, I was standing there. And you know, there was a strong sense when Omar and David asked, are we to continue? And there was an absolutely unanimous support from the community. Now, is that disunity? I'm not very sure. But the point is that there was a process, there was a solution formulated, and I'm more interested actually in the process itself of what happened, which showed that the community can very well work together and work out solutions. This was presented to the governing board. What was the answer? Thank you very much. Quite interesting. Please continue. But anyway, we're going to continue with our own predetermined solution. This was put in black and white. I brought this up this afternoon. There was no reply. This is the problem. So how do we engage? And I would not say compel the governing board because it's not in our power, but really say that, look here, now we have to sit down and engage in a proper consultation process, which is not a very big mystery. Consultation processes are well known. They've been elaborated all over the world. Then you would have met umpteen groups working through consultation. I also have in India, and it's not a big mystery. There is no proper consultation process happening in Auroville out of the governing board in consultation with either the community or even the International Advisory Council, because these critical points are aborted. And then the chairman of the governing board tells us, these are small issues. The real issue is, and he is asking for our definite answer, and today he was more explicit than ever, so we will have to write that, all of us. Is Auroville meant to take Sanatana Dharma to a higher level and create Gnostic beings? This was his question number one. And number two, is Sri Aurobindo a part of the stream of Sanatana Dharma or not? Now, very strangely in these questions, I'm not going to say what I will answer. We never hear of Mother. This concerns me. It concerns me that the founder of Auroville is kept completely out of all the discussions. Well, these are my comments on these.
Thank you.
Can I say a few words? Actually, let us pray to the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. They are really very much powerful to handle the situation. Let us trust on them. Don't trust on any human being, maybe governing board or even Prime Minister of India or whoever is there, Prime Minister of other countries. These are the temporary things. As Mother said, Sri Aurobindo said, this is not the government work and this politics cannot do this type of things. But because of our mistakes, we should realize we have to introspect that we have done the committed mistakes, something, our part only. We can't say this is, as he said, that this is a family. So we are in 3,000 families. Some family members have done the mistakes. We have invited the government of India. Government of India can only maintain the law and order situation. They cannot go spiritual society and spiritual phenomena, whatever for that Mother has created Auroville. Once she is telling, willing servitor of the divine consciousness, this is the place of yogis who want to do the yoga, who want to surrender everything and come here. And for that, I think Lord Krishna has created the atmosphere 5,000 years back as a Niskam Karma Yoga. And as Aurovillian, I have seen most of us people has done that Karma Yoga. May not be knowingly, unknowingly. They may not be knowing much Mother and Sri Aurobindo. But certainly they have that type of spirit. I have seen that spirits in Auroville peoples. Since childhood itself, I love the Auroville. I am visiting Auroville. Since last 10 years, I am almost part of the Auroville.
and now I'm in the final process of newcomer. So this actually I am really feeling, mother is pushing me. Why? Why we are just making a groups meeting, thinking this division and that one. What we have already committed that mistake once, now this is the time to correct. So let us see, there are two types of solution. Let us talk to the solution. Certainly advisory board or any board cannot do. Even governing board cannot do much because some of members have given the written complaint to the last governing board people, and that has been gone to that up to the chairman level. But by chairman, Karan Singh has understood the ROVille very deeply, so he had not passed those complaints and the situation had been stopped at that time. But finally he can also not do, and then situation has come to situation. So this is created by any problems in our family. Certainly we are the part. Maybe we say that this is not my part, that other family members' part, but this is our family. Finally, whatever we have to do. So let us see, there are two types of solution. One thing, we have done the mistake, we have to do the corrections. Government cannot do. And certainly our act take the, at least they may not say the priority for governance, but at least there is a major part of governance in the hand of governing board, if you see the Foundation Act. And this is a government body, so certainly they get further impetus. Whatever government is there, they are putting their own governing board. So that is your government of India, you can say. So certainly we have to get rid of those, and we have to try to define this way, redefine this act and whatever way is there. So at least we should get three body. One international council, you see, IIAC, we have most of the devotee of Sri Aurobindo and Mother. But in the governing board, and especially who is governing us, means you can say, we should not say any name, but whoever is there, certainly they are not the devotees of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo by heart. So that's problem.
Can we?
Yeah. So just I will not take much time. So one long-term solution we have to find out, or try to find out to get rid of this government of India, any government. Because Sri Aurobindo has told clearly, repeatedly, this politics can change at the last. Intellectuals can take the last. They have to take only law order situation. People have to grow themselves. People have to, like he said, that we have to do the blunder mistake also, but we have to learn and correct it.
Okay.
So that is the way of ROVille. And ROVille was doing like that tremendously.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
We have to talk about solution, not problem.
बाकियों को टाइम दे दे, थोड़ा बात करने के लिए टाइम जा रहा है.
Good evening, everyone. I think this is most probably one of the first time I've ever stood up or sat down with a mic in my hand. And I have no questions, but I would like to share what I feel. Hello, hello? So, I'm not here to, I don't have a specific question, but I would like to share my I can walk out, I think, at this point. Thank you. So my name is Arakali. I was born here. The mother gave me my name, not Sri Aurobindo. So for some, maybe it's not valid. It is valid to me. And I never left this place. This is my home. There's no difference in between me and Auroville. Auroville is me, and I'm Auroville. And what is happening today, I can only say is not okay. I feel like a tree being shaken from all sides. You can do all the prayers. You can ask me to surrender my spot, but it's just not okay. In humans, we ask some qualities, and one of the qualities that I was always told to have is no judgment. And right now, we are being judged at every move we do, to the extent that we don't even know how to breathe, because we may breathe too strong or not strong enough or whatever. how can we be ourselves when we have thousands of people from the outside just scrutinizing us? We're supposed to be doing something different. There's no time for that. We're not time bound. It's the ego that comes in and says, I want to see this done in that manner. Because when you talk about manifestation, the time is not in our hands. And yet, there are so many people which are so in a hurry to see the result. And I really request, we talk about communication. If I hear well, you're not even heard. And then one of the judgments is, we have no communication with the RA. But they don't want to hear, because that will jeopardize their timeline. So I am just sharing how shaken I am. I have never, ever doubted a single moment that this was my home. I may look like a Westerner, but don't judge a book by its cover. And I only feel so retracted and so pained by this threat of visa that we all have over our head. And we're talking about human unity, we're talking about equality, but somebody can just say, sorry, in 2 weeks, you're leaving your home. You're leaving this country. That is not okay, and that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay. Oh. I really feel your pain. And I do feel that there is so much contradiction, which is even more frustrating. You know, we talk about mindful and, spiritual. And, I've visited Oroville for 20 years, and I've participated in stuff, in different workshops where, we really look at what the meaning of mindful is, to dig deep, to explore very, very deeply. But I do feel personally, so I'll take myself out of the IAC seat, but I do feel personally there's a judgment. There is a spiritual superiority that is judging people, and it's really frustrating because I, on the other hand, see things like, I've seen the fashion shows you guys have put on and stuff, and then I see bouquets of flowers being given out with plastic wrapping, and I'm going, where is the mindfulness? Where is the yes, where is the values that you guys have worked for? I look at these big plastic banners everywhere, and I go, there is so little understanding. There is so little understanding, and there is so much, I'll just say it again, spiritual superiority, and it is incredibly hurtful.
Hi, my name is Satya. I was born and brought up here in Oroville. I'm actually from the local, and I would like to I have no questions to you actually, but I want to inform or just state to the community that it's instead of me, I wouldn't say me because I'm talking on behalf of many other Tamils locals who asked me to go and talk here now to make it clear that yes, we will not lose anything as Indians by standing for the community. I have no fear losing my home or anything, but right now I do have the fear of losing my family members. And I see everybody, everyone here as my family. We might be different in color, but for me and for others who asked me to be here today to talk, I see everyone as my family, and it's creating fear. This is actually in continuation of Emmy, which she said that we will not lose anything. We will still continue to be in Auroville and Quilapallium. It's very deep pain in the heart to see that one of our family members is being asked to leave with a quit notice. It's very painful. This is more painful than anything else. Yeah. Thank you.
My name is Helena.
Sir, I need you to just hold on. Sir. No. Okay. Sir, can I, if we manage to, we'll give you the time again for the next one, if we manage. Thank you.
My name is Helena. And the first time I came here, 36 years ago, on my cycle from Pondi, I saw an empty space with a few trees here and there. And that time I had a wish to come and live here, but I was only 18, so it took some time. It took a long time, in fact. And then when I came back here 11 years ago to come and live here, and I stood on the roof of my new house, I saw only green. We are a forest together. We are trees. We are living beings. And do you know how a forest functions? A forest connects and communicates through the roots. Always, always. Even when a tree dies, food, nourishment, water will go to the root system of that dead tree. A forest never gives up on anybody. I feel as a community we need to go deeper into our roots of truth, our roots of freedom, our roots of justice, our roots of love and nourishment, and know that we are strong. We are so much stronger than the top part of these wobbly leaves, being hit around by the wind might suggest. So if we can tap back into our strength, we are not going to be destroyed. But I do know that there will be a future where people will recognize that killing a tree is killing a being. And that killing a tree will be a criminal act. And I feel as a community, I hope as a community, we might stand for that truth. And then on a side note, I would like to say that I'm from Holland, and in Holland we have a saying, and it says, when there are two dogs fighting over a bone, there will be a third dog running away with the bone. Now you can all come up with your own ideas about who's the dog and who's the other dog and who's the bone and who's the third dog. Perhaps I do not need to explain, but it might also very well be that that little bone is put there on purpose for those two dogs to fight about so that the third dog may run away with the bone. And I all want you to ponder on that. Thank you very much.
So I'm a little bit shorter, so I better stand. Greetings, everyone. I decided to stand and speak today because I'm a little bit shorter. Anyway, I want to share what I have been feeling. And for people who doesn't know me, my name is Tahir. I'm originally from Ethiopia. But I could say I grew up here because I came when I was super young for my age to be here, inspired by the pioneers who have been here before me, who have been planted the trees, who stayed without electricities and the van and the building, fancy building that we have here now, we don't have, it wasn't there before. I'm here by their inspiration to build the community with them, with the people who live here, with the people who care about Oroville. The people who choose to be here, not because they get paid, but the soul bring them here. I thought I could be here with my soulmate and to build a place for a future where all human beings can feel safe. For me, I want to live in the place and I want to contribute my energy to the place where freedom means something. As a young person, I left Ethiopia to be here. And in Ethiopia or in Africa, we have a word called Ubuntu. I am who I am because of who you are. And that comes from, not from the Google, but it comes from the heart, how we live day-to-day life. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mauna. I am from Holland. In 1971, I came here. I came for Oroville, but the mother's energy was so strong that she kept me in the ashram. I agree with all the pleas that have been said here. But why I came forward is because I have a suggestion for you. I can see in each of you the real wanting to help us. You want to help us. But as much as we are, you are not hurt. Maybe Alain, is Alain Bernard here? And Frederick, people who have been helpful in the creation of the Oroville Foundation Act. The first formulation of the Oroville Foundation Act had as the function of the Oroville International Council to advise the government. This was later in the second version, and maybe Frederick or Alain can explain why that was. This was changed to the International Advisory Council advising the governing board. And you guys have been sort of a lame duck with a lot of goodwill. Again and again, they said, we can't do anything. I was thinking, the situation is so serious. Please, all these people who... And now we have somebody who's kicked out. And this guy has been trying to give words to our current predicament in the most civilized way. He has spelled it out, but he has always stayed really correct. So I was wondering, is this situation, if we as a Residents' Assembly would ask you, can you see this situation so critical that you would be willing to try to come together with an appeal to the Prime Minister's office and say something really is amiss with the city of Dawn? I mean, this is an experiment. It's an extraordinary experiment. But they take the experiment away. We become an institutionalized event with tourists and showing how spiritual we are. The mother wanted something to grow, to come up, to emerge. And we know we have lost it. The last 10 years we should have been working on agreeing. We have to agree, we have to agree. But each time when we would have a plan of how to come through our problems, we would say, we can't agree. It would become a meme. We can't agree. Yeah, we can try, but we can't agree. This became a meme, and this is our real mistake. We have not been working together on trying to agree, and that's what she asked. That's what Mother asked. So I was wondering, that's why I came forward. Could you try to consider together if the situation is critical enough, if you have really hurt us, to do this step for us?
I think a first step for us is I'd like for a small group of you to meet with the secretary and then maybe the head of the governing board. I know you say you've done it before, but I don't think we can give up on that process. I think we're at a different stage now than we were 6 months ago. And I think if you believe in dialogue, then you have to dialogue. We're meeting, I have to leave, unfortunately. I thought we were finished at 6:30.
You guys are always going.
Well, I'm sorry, but I have got a lot of demands on me. But I'm meeting with the working groups tomorrow. Maël, I want to speak with you tomorrow. You're going to be there at the working group? Okay, and I'd like to speak with Amy at some point.
Yes. Guys,
I hate to be late to I'm sorry, but I thought we were done at 6:30. That was the schedule.
Dina, is it only you that's leaving? The other three are
No, they're
not?
staying,
Okay.
and I trust my
Okay.
colleagues.
Okay, thank you.
And Maël, I do want to speak to you tomorrow. I'd like to speak with Amy. I don't see her on the working group. You're on the working group, right? Are you?
I'm in the council, Auroville Council.
So will I see you tomorrow?
Okay.
Okay. What's that? I would like to speak to Amy before I leave. I'm here until Sunday. If anybody wants to reach me, I'm available. We can reach me. I'm sorry that I have to leave, and I appreciate the time. I mean, as I said, I can only do what I can do.
If I may, I know you're late, and I just wanted to ask if you can be 2 minutes late.
2 minutes.
Because what I'm about to say, I would actually really like you to hear.
Okay.
So for those who don't know me, my name is Maël. I'm the lucky person who got a quit notice yesterday evening. And first of all, what I wanted to say for everyone is that even if the news came as a shock, I actually really trust. In general, I like trusting and having faith. And basically, I've been asked to leave the country before the 1st of March, and I'm sure we'll find a workable solution before that. So I would like that we all hold prayers and good faith, and that we don't let discouragement and fear and whatever might come. Because I feel that is actually a bigger loss. Now, Dina, the reason why I wanted you to be here is because I'm sorry, I'll be confronting you a little bit. I've heard a lot of good intentions, and I'm sure they're genuine and sincere. Being in the working committee, I've had the chance to be in some of the communications between the ISE and and us, or in the governing board or whatever, and I've seen Michel and Gabi express their concern many times in writing, and I really would like to thank both of you for that. You've said earlier that you were an advisor and not a decider, but in order to be an advisor, you need to advise. And I'm sure you have had conversations with people, and I would like to just place on record that having written communications is a different nature. And expressing through a united voice of the IAC your disagreement with things that have been going on is way different than going and talking 5 minutes to Jayanti Ravi over the phone. And I respect that this is also needed, and I do feel that both need to happen, but I sometimes wonder why, after the 11th of December 2021, which was the first and only letter signed by the IAC, there was no other common communication from you. You may not agree with all of the requests we are having right now to the governing board, all of the requests we've put before them. But I think at least some basics of not harassing people and not threatening their lives could have been something on which you could have, the four of you, or perhaps even the five of you with David Frawley, could have agreed on. And so I'm a bit disgruntled to see that after more than a year, there has been only one single communication signed by the IAC on the 11th of December, and no further effort in at least agreeing on a few things you could place on record. So that would be my...
I'm just going to quickly respond. We're 5 people, and we have 5 different opinions. Just like Oroville has many different opinions, we have very different styles, okay? I have expressed many, many things, not just to the secretary, but to the head of the governing board. I've had private meetings with him. Gabby and I had breakfast with him. We had opportunities to express ourselves. I know what can be done and what can't be done. There are things that won't change, sorry. But accepting the reality on the ground, in my mind, move on beyond the Crown Road. I mean, there are bigger issues, how this place is going to be governed. There are things that just be grounded in reality, what's going to happen. Focus on the things that you can affect. The governance of this place has to be established. Okay, there's something on paper. What does that mean? How is a place going to be governed? I don't think I have any effect on the Crown Road or the master plan. I'm sorry, I just don't think I can affect. I've had many conversations about it. I don't think I can have. I can have effect. I've tried hard with the visas. I've had multiple conversations about your situation. I'm not giving up on it. And I said the other day, if people are being taken from their houses, I want to make sure everybody has a good place to live. These are things I care about. I care about the visas. I care about people having places to live. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with me. But, you know, you talked about not judging. Please, please. I'm coming from a different... I've worked in conflict areas around the world. I have a very different style. I've brought people together from many different places in the most brutal conflicts. I can't judge which side is right. I say, guys, talk to each other, sit together. I've sat, you know, in very tense situations of people who are killing each other. This is not at that level. I know you guys are suffering, but this is not at that level. Nobody's being killed here. Nobody's being raped here. You're losing your home.
Hey guys.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank
I mean,
you,
if you can't
Dina.
treat me respectfully, there's no
Yes.
point in me being here.
Thank you, Dina.
I just want to thank you, Dina, for your answer.
Thank you for your honesty.
Sure. Sure, let's speak tomorrow.
I would like to make just 2 points of order and bring our attention to 2 things. The time, which is one, because then it starts going into chaos. Am I audible now? Okay. The one thing I would like to remind us is when a person is standing up and speaking their truth, that we let them. We just let them. And I'm sorry, stepping in is, and speaking up is then not listening. You don't have to agree. Nothing in a dialogue says that we will all agree and we will walk out with a solution. But can I please ask everybody to allow people to express their truth? That's one. The second one is, we had planned to wrap up latest by 7. I know there are a lot of people raising their hands, catching our attention, saying they want to speak. But what we had said is, we'd like you to walk into the inner circle and wait your turn when the mic is free. Right now, there are a few people in the inner circle who probably want to speak. We'll try to manage that. I'm not taking any hand signals, please, because otherwise we can't manage. Thank you. To Gabi.
I just wanted to respond to the dysfunction of the IAC. You know, we're sometimes placed in roles that might not suit our personalities or might not, you know, be in line with our personal perspectives. But I feel that there is always a job description, and that our responsibility as IAC members is to keep that in the forefront rather than the personal stuff. So, you know, I do feel that it is very possible for 4 people with very differing opinions and views to come together and to agree some basic principles from which we respond as a collective. And that unfortunately has never happened. So, but I just wanted to make that point that it shouldn't be rocket science. So.
If I may take a few seconds, just a few seconds, to say, number one, that I have no time limit. I can be here as long as you all wish. Number two, Mauna, in response to your suggestion, I will try to draft a simple note expressing the anxieties and strong feelings, and I will submit it to all our members and see whether they would agree to issue this as a common statement. That's all I can do.
Thank you. Okay. No, it's okay. You can put it there.
I'm just going to give you an impression that I have since the last 18 months. I come from a family with a very strict code of conduct, which the patriarchy decides. And they judge us based on a code of conduct, where we have no choice of what is the action that we can do and how it will be judged. I came to Oroville. This was my home, where I could actually choose what I wanted to change in me and participate in a dream that was outside the patriarchy, outside the very magnificent code of conduct that for thousands of years my gang has been coming up with. But since the last year and a half, I really feel I've gone back to that home that I left to choose something new, different, and something that actually makes sense for the planet as it is today, to change something. A code of conduct decided by somebody who will not only draft it, will actually implement it, judges on it. And I really understand now that this whole Sanatan Dharma, I mean, I don't know where that term came in from and what it has to do with Sri Aurobindo. Of course, mother has no more place then. There's no place for her because there's no adventure, there's no innovation, there's no space to try and change and do something. Even if we fail, at least we tried. There's no room for failure. I'm sorry, I don't see a new world coming out of that. You know, that's all.
Oh, okay. He's missing.
Because they have
I just want to say one thing. Just to manage expectations, guys. The time is 5 to 7. We will wrap up at 7. That was the idea. Everybody cannot have a turn to speak, and nobody's not giving you the mic. Paulette, there were people here before.
No, I asked a long time ago, and you said that.
I'm sorry then, we missed you. I'm sorry. But we let her go, and if you wait, you will have a turn.
You can wait, I will be brief.
Paulette, if you wait, we will, after her, she will pass it to you. Please, please, please. We're very sorry, Paulette. You'll get a chance just after her.
So,
please sit.
Sorry.
Thank you.
So my name is Elisa. I think very briefly, I would invite, I think we are really in a context, in a review worldwide of pure unknown. And however reference we can take the word of the Auroville Foundation Act, which gives words and some level of meanings to your role, I do feel that today as individuals and as groups, it's important to sense the spirit behind the words in order to see what we can embody on another level. There are different ways to be advisors. We can advise in private, we can advise silently, we can advise and yet publish something. I'm not giving any direction. I'm just requesting, and that's really what I apply to myself, that I do believe it's a time to find our true felt positioning in this world. And mainly when we are witnessing dynamics which are highly, highly of concern. And if we are witnessing that, we are still all decision makers of our lives and as a group. So I do believe that your eyes, your heart, you as a group is important. I understand, I know what it is to be in a group where there are different opinions, but there are ways to see behind and to see what could be your role today. And you know, for me, there is the tension between, at least within myself at this juncture, of yes, human unity, and yet seeing human unity and some people where I'm at in my life, some people I'm meeting on the road, and just my cells, just my physique is just contracting, while I do believe we are one, and I do feel it in my heart, in my guts, everywhere, and yet I'm still contracting. So I still have to learn, of course, but going with what feels right and what feels true, and how we can stand and bring a voice to what is okay, what is not okay. You have a role, so please be your full self, and we will be our full self also. Thank you.
Thank you. I know, but so there are a lot of people here still want, I know everybody has, but okay, can I
suggest something?
Yes, please.
Because
but
I think a lot of people...
Sir, before you go, I would just like to finish this part. There are two people here, Christine and Paulette, who have been coming and wanting, and I would ask the others to just pause, let the two of them, they are our elder residents, I would like to respect that. And I would like you three, if you can just hold on for these two conversations, and then we can take a call on who's staying longer or not. Is that okay with you three and everybody else? Thank you. So Paulette, I'm going to give it to you, and Paulette.
Can I suggest something?
I know.
So I wanted to reply
Can I suggest something?
To Michel Danino.
Just give me 1 minute.
I don't have a mic. I cannot be a facilitator without a mic.
What I suggest is, there are many people who would like to express. What I suggest is, like Dana suggested, that you have 10, 15 people, log in all those concerns, situations, issues that they are facing personally or their feelings, have it present to us or we will have audience with the foundation. So that way, nobody is feeling left out. because this can go on. I have to also go.
Yes, sir.
There are people waiting for me, but I appreciate your patience and goodwill, because this Auroville is based on goodwill. Yeah. Now, we have to keep that in perspective. It also stands for unity. It also stands for harmony. So I think those are key words that we have to keep, including us. We have to also follow that. Thank you.
Can I ask you, but you stay ahead for the next 5 minutes for the two ladies to talk?
Okay.
Thank you
No
very
problem.
much.
So I asked to reply to Michel Danino, since when he spoke about the spiritual superiority, Sanatana Dharma, and ignoring the mother. Because unfortunately, it's not only the mother who has been ignored, it's Sri Aurobindo himself and Sri Aurobindo on Sanatana Dharma. So I'm publishing for the third time a book which is called Avatarhood, Human and Divine, which was published on occasion of the 125th birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo, paid by the government of India. But now I cannot even publish on the Euronet. I cannot even post that I am the one organizing the bus for Darshan, because I'm banned. Because I come from the ashram. I started 50 years ago, and I'm since 37 years in Auroville. I published 13 books on integral yoga. I am the one who called back Roger. As a member of the Center of Human Unity, I was publishing stencils distributed to the whole community on Mother Guidelines, Mother Town, Mother Matrimandir, paid by the government of India, and I'm the person who is banned. So, in particular, I was very thrilled when I heard the Governor Ravi talk about the spiritual transformation, which nobody talks usually, and the Gnostic Society. But then, when I heard, because of the big polemics on Sanatana Dharma, so the result I'm adding to that book on Avatarhood, a special chapter which is exactly on Sanatana Dharma, world union, and equal Godhead in the race. So the governor should update himself, because the Sanatana Dharma for Sri Aurobindo includes Jesus and Muhammad, the church and the mosque. And then this was Sri Aurobindo avatar, because Uttarpara speech, Karma Yogin, shows the complete avatarhood of Sri Aurobindo, but the avatar manifests according to the need of the age. So in his youth,
Paulette, can I interrupt you briefly? If you could just try and wrap this up, because there's more people waiting to speak and time is very limited.
Yeah, I will try to be concise. So then Sri Aurobindo, as an avatar, evolved. And so he preached on world union. And finally, he talks about the equal Godhead in the race and the true spiritual communism, saying if this doesn't happen, there is no hope for the race. Then there is also the mother, but I don't even mention the mother. I mention Sri Aurobindo alone. Always in this book on the avatar, he replies to Nirodmaran, explaining that the ashram, not Auroville, is not a place for saints. That every single member of the ashram represents an impossibility. The mother even says each of us represents an impossibility to be solved. So I'm very sorry, all this doesn't exist with this kind of spiritual superiority. They don't know Sri Aurobindo. They don't know the mother. And also they don't know that the galaxy will be destroyed by what they want to do. In the galaxy there are no radials. These 12 things which have become 10 completely destroy
the spiral movement of the galaxy or the line of force. So these people might have a very good will, but they don't know the galaxy, they don't know Sri Aurobindo, and they don't know the mother.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Christine, and I want to make a very simple point. Actually, I want to add just a little bit to what Maël said. He was expressing surprise at the fact that since 1.5 years, you haven't made a joint statement about what is happening. Okay, so Dina Miriam said that you have different opinions. I understand that. But how can you have different opinions on the fact that an Aurovillian is fired from his work from one day to the next without any explanation, without any motive? Is there somewhere in the world where this is happening? Is it, sorry?
In corporate takeover.
So I am very surprised that human rights violation, if we use that language, are there all the time, and not one collective statement from you to denounce that. I know that they were from Gabi and Michel, but I don't understand how, on a human point of view, what is happening. People expelled from their house, people fired from their job, etc. This did not motivate a letter, collective letter from you.
Thank you, Christine.
Just to say that we did mention it at the governing board meeting this afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, I need to check in with Hasmukh. I think this circle, we are not entertaining most speakers in this circle. I don't know whether, Olivier, you want to talk. You do. So we have 1, 2, and 3 people. And then we will close it. We also had some little gifts for you. So can we go through these 3? Thank you. Thank you. No, we need your intention to be present. Thank you.
Okay, I just have 2 points which I would really request the International Advisory Council to carry to the governing board and to the chairman and to Dr. Ravi. And that is that, you know, when we quote, criticize, or we are suggesting other ways of implementing, or, you know, the plan, it is not anti-government. This is very important. Many people have been told that we're anti-government. A criticism of that is not anti-government. So this is really important to communicate. And I think Madam Ravi is misunderstanding that. Maybe she's used to a different way. But here, when we search for answers, it is not anti-government. That's the first point. And the second point is, now from this IAC meeting and governing board meeting, please ask that the police case against 6 fellow Aurovillians be removed. Enough is enough. It is false. That case is totally false. You go through the actual things, and Mr. Srinivas Murthy should be requested to withdraw the case. That's all.
Maybe short, brief, yes, sweet.
Thank you. I'm Ashish. My question to you is that I very much appreciate what all of you said, and very much resonate with that. To Rama sir, he very rightly said that Aurovillians should decide things together, come up with solutions. And as a student of Sri Aurobindo, we know that when there is a problem or a resistance, our role is to find a more creative, more inclusive solution. that will satisfy all and take us all together further. It seems that is not happening. What has happened is a takeover. And there are steps of takeover which satisfy some people but hurt a big number of Orwellians. And it's not just mental satisfaction. People are given jobs who agree with the takeover. People are fired from jobs, as well as institutes which institutes agree are useful for the takeover are taken over, and people are threatened regularly, visas, house evictions. You see such problems which you couldn't imagine in the early Orwell, or Orwell before this takeover. So my request is to present this point, that how can we find solutions together when the takeover continues? We keep on feeling the pressure, and some things, like a person is asked to leave India, it's not just that. The rest of us are threatened that anytime you can be asked to leave. So in that environment, how can we come up with something together? So that would be my request to you. Please find a solution to that. Thank you very much.
My name is Olivier, and I'm in Auroville for about a bit more than 30 years. And I can only resonate with most of what has been said today, and I think it reflects very well the spirit of the Residence Assembly, and also the concern and the fears. Some words have come again and again during the meeting, and these words are about goodwill and dialogues, and I think this is very important. But we should not forget that from the beginning of the crisis, we tried to have some dialogues, many times. And either this dialogue has been denied, or if it happened at all, we found some kind of deaf ears. And the last time it really happened, and there was a great expectation at the time, is when Dr. Ravi, the chairman of the foundation, came here. And we were expecting to have this dialogue, this very dialogue, and instead of this, we got a lecture. And funnily enough, during this lecture, he told us that, in fact, the power should be left to the Residence Assembly, and asked us to send him our suggestion, whatever, what is our vision, and so on. And many people have written letters, and even a book has been published, which has been called The Spirit of Auroville. And months after, we got no answer. So we feel a bit hurt, in a way, because we keep trying to share our concern, our vision, our good willingness. But at the same time, if we want to have any dialogue to happen in this community, and I think this is really what can change something, the goodwill should be from all the sides. And everybody should really listen to each other. It's not about embodying the mother's vision, because what is the mother's vision? That's a great question. There's a lot of interpretation about this. We talk about the master plans, but there are several master plans. There are a lot of things we could talk about, and I think really it is time that we realize that, as somebody said, that we cannot progress as long as we are not all together, and that the three bodies of the Orwell Foundation Act worked in this spirit of mutual respect and mutuality, general mutuality. So I'm very happy that you are here today to listen to us, and I really hope that today will be a turning point for everybody to start listening to each other and collaborating to a better Orwell. Thank you.
Thank you. Should I close? You want to close? I think we can close.
Thank you all for giving us an opportunity to listen to you, and we will take in a good spirit, and we'll do what best can we influence the decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Hasmukh-ji. 1 second, we have a little thing for you. The trees. Yes. Rita, the trees were talked about, and I would right now, I'm sorry, but I need to do this. You can continue to talk with two of them over dinner. Hasmukh Bhai wants to go, I think, and we would like to keep our promise to let him go. We just, one second, itni jaldi nahi. We want to give you something. And I have one question to the IAC. How do the residents get in touch with you? Is there just an email? Yeah. What is the email? IAC at Oroville. Shali has it.
Shali has my email.
Your email?
By the way, Shali, we know each other since long. She has been to Greenville. She has been to our center in South Carolina. So Shali has all my contacts.
Okay, so we know that Hasmukh's contacts can be gotten from Shali, and all of yours can be. Okay.
No, you send her and let her filter for me.
We'll see how we do that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hasmukh. And thank you, everybody. I think they have two gifts for you too. Just because you're not leaving doesn't mean you don't get a gift. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Radha.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. There's dinner out there. And for those that wanted to speak and didn't feel that they had the chance, our apologies. We tried to do the best we could.
And please take the opportunity over dinner to share what you would like to.
Ciao. Come here, Mal. We want a photo with you. Oh, make a picture with Mal for us.
Thank you to Anita and Orada who agreed to facilitate this meeting a bit last minute.
Thank you, guys. Anna, let me give you a hug.